I had just done a guided reading session with my highest group, and now they're all finished with the third day, so we need a new lesson plan. So here's what I do to lesson plan for guided reading. So at our school we use a program called Raz Kids quite a bit, and Raz Kids gives you, it's like a reading program that gives you great data to work with. And so I have my students grouped accordingly based upon their reading level. To do that, there's a number of different ways you can go about doing that. For example, you can give them an F&P, like where to start type of test. That means Fontes and Pinnell, and then you can give them a reading test, Fontes and Pinnell running record, in order to determine what level they're at, and then group them with kids of similar abilities. Okay, so for a lesson plan, here's what I do. So I have my groups situated based upon Harry Potter houses. You can do it through colors or animals or however you decide to do. Internet's rather slow. Taking a while. There we go. I would go to the skills area, and I would usually pick the group that I'm looking at. For example, Slytherin was the group I worked with yesterday. And for the last 30 days, I would check mainly comprehension and filter it by accuracy. So we can see that problem and solution is 50%, which is not great. So we might want to find a book that has problem and solution as the comprehension strategy. And to do that, we go into this file here, Raz Book List and Comprehension Strategy. I believe they were level J. Click on that, and remember I'm looking for a problem and solution. In the middle here is the comprehension strategies. So here we go, Broken Arm Blues. How about we find that one? Okay, let's take a look for J. Here we go. I usually will just take a look at the lesson plan and use that to help fill out the lesson plan that I have. The guided reading that we do is based upon Jan Richardson. The book is called Next Steps in Guided Reading. It's basically the Bible of guided reading. So if you have a chance to read that, we highly recommend that one. J level is a transitional level. And so I'm going to find the lesson plan. So the students are Jay, Zoe, and Peter. This is pretty self-explanatory. The dates, right now it's May 26. The title of the book is called Broken Arm Blues, and it's a level J. And so I use the lesson plan to, we know what comprehension focus is, problem and solution. With strategy focus, let's take a look at the lesson plan. Make, revise, and confirm predictions. Confirm predictions. And we fill this out with a synopsis, like what is the book about? Broken Arm Blues tells the story of two siblings who each have a broken arm at the same time. This story is about siblings who both have a broken arm. They face many challenges that they overcome throughout the book. We'll take a look at the story words. So we have blues, which is an adjective, bulky, cast, which is a noun, karate is a noun, and pod is a noun. And you have some academic language as well, same as an adjective, and use, which is a verb. I like to tell the students what kind of word it is as well. I think that it's a helpful type of thing to do. Problem and solution is going to be a writing prompt on day 3. So let me highlight that. This is when they're reading with prompting. The way that a session works, I would introduce the vocabulary first, and then we would do what's called a running record. So all of the students would be reading their book silently, and then I would ask one child to read one page, and I would note any inaccuracies or problems that arose. Break the word apart. Hopefully there's some big words in here. Usually you can find discussion prompts within the lesson plan. What made having the casts exciting at first? Okay, let's write that down. What made having a cast exciting at first? And next question, Why did Kyle and Carrie start to feel so bad? This part here, I'd usually just pick one from each section. Breaking words apart, I think we should just stick with that one. Maybe check the picture for vocabulary strategy. Pictures oftentimes give more information to the reader, which could help them understand the book in greater details. Expression would probably be important for this one, I'm imagining. I'm not going to fill out this. I'm going to keep blasting ahead. Analogy chart is going to be what we're going to be doing. And what is an analogy chart? Well, let me show you. I'm going to go to this group's extra helpful resources, extra helpful files. So let me take a look and see what kind of word work or word study is appropriate for this group. Okay, here we go. This is, by the way, this is all from the Jan Richardson book as well. So easy analogy chart for teaching short and long vowels. So we're going to focus on short and long vowels with this group for next book. So cap, clap, chap, cap, clap, chap, slap, and snap. Name, sane, shame, blame, and blame. And the writing that we're going to do for this, I'm going to find from here, comprehension questions, extended response. Write about how you would solve a bad case of the blues. Sounds good. Write about how you would solve a bad case of the blues. Describe some activities. What did it say? Describe some activities you do that make you happy and feel better. Okay, so I haven't read this book yet, but my assumption is that, with the comprehension strategy as problem and solution, I imagine that there's going to be some problems within this book. Of course, if I had more time, I would go through the book itself. To plan for this writing prompt, I'm going to say, let's list all the problems that we find in this book. To follow up on that, I'd say, what are the solutions to those problems? And that's pretty much it. With transitional guided reading plan, levels J through P, what happens is that we have three 20-minute sessions with the students. On day one, we introduce the book, we tell them the synopsis of the book, and we go over the first 4 vocabulary words. You don't ask them to tell you what those words mean, you tell them what those words mean. We don't want to waste time with maybe they know or maybe they don't. You want to tell them straight up what those words mean. And after that, you do what's called the running record. You hand out the book to each of them and have them read silently. If they get to the end of the book, they can go back to the beginning and reread again. And you go to each student and you ask them to read one page, and like I said, you note any irregularities or any problems in pronunciation. Afterwards, on day one, we would do a discussion prompt. I would ask them this question and this question here, and then we would have an open discussion. Rescue means, like, if you're in the water and you go under the water, when you're like, oh no, I'm under the water, and you can't breathe, and someone comes and if they save you, we say they rescue.
Oh, it's dog saves the research dog and has swim and pull some people to the safety place.
So Jay, you're gonna start. Go ahead, please.
Introduction. You probably know that some dogs aren't just a pet. They hold jobs. Dogs learn fast. They also hear and smell better than we do. This means dogs can do jobs that people can't.
Okay, could you read this last sentence, please?
This meals.
What does that word say? The E-A is a long E sound. Yeah, so M-E-N would be what?
Means.
Yeah, this means.
This means dogs can do jobs that people can't.
Good work. Okay, keep reading, please. Is that way? Which page are you on?
Some dogs look for people who are lost. They are called siege and research dogs. Many siege and research dogs use their nose to find people who need help. Some of these dogs need the ground to find people.
Could you read from here, please? There.
They are called siege and
Hold on.
reason.
What word is this?
Siege.
Think of there being like no E here. If it's S-E-R, what would that be?
Search
Yeah, search.
and research.
R-E-S would say what?
Rescue. Rescue.
Rescue.
Dog.
Yeah. Could we read the whole thing, please?
Search and rescue dog.
Good. You know what search means?
No.
Search means to look for something. Like if I want to know where my jacket is, I will search my house. I will search. I'll look for it. Okay, so search and rescue dogs. Okay. Should you keep reading?
Many search and rescue dogs use their nose to find people who need help. Some of these dogs need the ground to find people.
Good. Thank you very much. So what I'd like us to do is...
We're having a contrast.
Yeah, we're going to compare and contrast two different dogs. Okay, so pick two dogs from the book and tell me what is the same about those two dogs and what's the information
Choose two dogs to.
Yeah, any two dogs that you
Pet
want.
dog and a work dog.
Exactly, yeah. I'd like you to use two dogs from this story to compare and contrast. Remember we talked about evidence this morning? Using evidence from the book. That's why I want you to use this book. Can we do that? Just erase that. Two dogs from this book. On day 2, you do the same thing with introducing new vocabulary like karate, same, pod, and use. You get them to do a running record as well. Once again, handing out the books and having them read quietly, and also taking a running record of each of the students. And then on the second day, I would go over the word study for day 2. I would usually have a whiteboard and I would probably talk about the short A vowel versus the magic E. And then we would have students maybe name the words that they know of that have those patterns in order to build a larger repertoire of vocabulary. On day 3, once again, you have no vocabulary on day 3, but you do the running record. Day 3 is mainly focused upon writing. So you have them read, do the running record, and then you plan on writing. You do this 3 to 5 minute plan, and then you have them write with teacher support for the rest of the 20 minutes. I usually will take a picture of work that we do together in the session and then keep it on in a file on my computer. And that's pretty much it. So this is just the transitional lesson plan. There's early, there's emergent, and there's fluent as well. I highly recommend taking a look at Jan Richardson's book, which is called Next Steps in Guided Reading, and that should be very helpful. If you have any questions, comments, please put them down below, and we'll talk to you later. All right, bye-bye.